It may be a curse to live in interesting times, but it is a true gift to be able to recognize and depict the times you're living in while they're happening. Each artist exists on a vast continuum, forever building on techniques developed by those who came before, and occasionally, some stop and survey the state of their art and say, fuck it, I'm going the other way. Ralph Bakshi, the innovative animator who gave us Cool World, The Lord of the Rings, and Fritz the Cat, was one such maverick. Before Bakshi, the landscape of feature animation somewhat resembled a Disney cartel. Everything was so controlled, so preordained, so kid-friendly. But then along came Bakshi with his X-rated, hyper-violent and sexual works making a big splash and changing the game. It's a story that's been told many times on this podcast because, of course, it's the story of New Hollywood. His films often depict a gritty urban milieu, complete with much to say on the subject of race, content that raised eyebrows in the early 70s, and many in the 21st century might dismiss under the umbrella of being problematic. And today, we're diving directly into the controversy with his stunning work, 1973's Heavy Traffic. Dig it.
Welcome to Kale Your Idols, a New Hollywood podcast with your hosts,
Sam Ludwig
and Elena Gibson. This is a podcast about film. Primarily, we discuss movies, directors, actors, and writers known for their work during the New Hollywood era of studio filmmaking that began in 1967 with Bonnie and Clyde and The Graduate, and pretty much ended in the early 80s with One from the Heart and Heaven's Gate. This episode, we're discussing the film Heavy Traffic, a perfect example of the New Hollywood sensibility, but in cartoon form.
And today we're joined by special guests. We have Frank Gidlewski, who is a story artist and cartoonist living in the Valley in Los Angeles. Frank has been working professionally for the past 5 years, starting on freelance crumbs for any person who needed an animated GIF, to now working for studios such as Nickelodeon, Titmouse, and Netflix, as well as being an artist on various Meat Canyon cartoons for his popular YouTube channel. He is currently working as a storyboard revisionist for Big Mouth and a storyboard artist on 2 unannounced animated projects. In his free time, he's slowly working on his animated short film Sad Dad, and the comic he's co-created with Joseph Britz, Constantino. Website and comic dropping early summer 2024. Frank, thank you so much for being here. I'm sorry to just jump right into it, but as I was reading that intro, I kind of wanted you to weigh in on how I pronounced that word, GIF. What's your thoughts on this?
I'm a fool and I say GIF.
You say GIF like a crazy idiot? You
I
do?
I
Are you
do.
militant about it?
What idiot can be militant? They just go with the flow.
But
I've always heard GIF. I've heard GIF my whole life, but I've heard the argument of GIF versus GIF. And as long as it moves and loops, I like it. That's my opinion of it.
Oh man, I've got such strong opinions about this. And I don't know, we don't need to get too deep into litigating this.
Let's not.
Okay, fine. We don't have to. Let's move on to something else.
No, you get like 20 seconds. Go ahead.
Well, no. Okay, so obviously first, the creator of it says it's pronounced GIF. There are plenty of words in English that start with a hard G sound and then go an I. Giraffe is one. And also,
I would say what the creator says goes.
Yes,
right?
so there's certainly that.
I'm just a rule breaker.
No. The
like
real,
Dashki.
Exactly.
You're fucking right, man.
You're fucking Bakshi.
Yeah, you're just throwing bombs here. But the basic real axe that I have to grind here is people who are on the GIF side of this make the completely specious argument that acronyms have to follow the pronunciation rules of their words, which is not the case at all. That is nothing. There's nothing in the rules of acronyms that say that the way that a word is pronounced has to then follow in the acronym. I mean, am I crazy here? Like this?
I mean, I feel like it would make sense if it follows the real enunciation.
No, but they don't have to at all. I did this program when I was a kid called Capitol Hill Arts Workshop, right? But they called it CHAW, which makes sense Because it looked like the word chaw when you said like that was the sound that gets made from a CNH. Anyways, That's sorry.
The saddest acronym. Chaw.
Yeah, it's not exciting at all.
Okay, fine, fair enough. It was shown on this children's theater program. Anyways,
okay,
I just needed a little bit of that.
You've made your argument.
Thank you.
It is noted. It's gone
on
down
the
in
podcast.
History.
We'll never talk about it again.
You may have just heard my cat meow on the mic.
Yeah, that's great. What's the cat's name?
That's a little Easter egg for listeners. It's for the eagle-eyed listeners.
What's the name?
Or.
That's pretty good.
Yeah, every time Or is going to walk on screen, because we're using Zoom to have this meeting, I am just going to, like, lose my place. It's, like, so fucking cute seeing cats on Zoom. I fucking love it. Okay, well, I had my own, like, additional introduction for Frank.
You need to jump in on the GIF.
So I just want to say, before we move into actual stuff, that I'm especially excited to welcome Frank on the show because Frank and I went to high school together in rural Pennsylvania. We were also on the high school cross-country team together. Woohoo. And even back in high school, it was very obvious how talented Frank was. He's really hilarious and creative. Frank, I remember how you could on-demand improvise funny songs that were poking fun at people. It always brought the house down. And you were always a very talented cartoonist. I think somewhere in the apartment I have a signed sketch that you did of Stimpy, maybe, from Ren and Stimpy. Some sort of
old. That's got to be very crappy.
No, it was great. I remember this great. I'll dig it up. I'll find it. And yeah, so sometime after high school, you moved to LA, and I've just kind of been somewhat following your career on Facebook based on your Facebook posts. And I know that like it took you a little while to break into the animation field, and I know like during that time it was really shitty waiting tables and, you know, having shitty jobs in LA. So I just want to say that from my perspective, everybody should wait tables at some point, but nobody should have to do it for too long. So from my perspective, you're just such a total success story, and I'm incredibly impressed with your talent and your persistence and your achievements. So I'm so excited to have you on the show today.
Thank you very much. That is very nice. I feel egotistical smiling hearing that. But no, that's very nice to hear. Thank you. I feel good in where I'm at, but it is Hollywood, so it's one of those things where it's like when it's good, hang on, because sometimes it can be bad. It can be rough for anyone. Like animation's taking a big hit right now in general. It's wild, dude. I got my first, like, I had other jobs prior to, before the pandemic, but they were all very short term. They're like 3-month-long contracts. A lot of animation nowadays is actually done overseas or in Canada. And overseas can be anywhere nowadays. I'm doing a show that is being animated in Ireland and another show that's being animated in South Korea. So, and then we have retakes that happen in Canada and in LA and all that stuff. So those are good, but they'll be like very short-term contracts. So like I got Big Mouth, like my first like real like breaking into like storyboarding, like right as the pandemic hit. It was like a horror, they're horror movies to me, but the fucking like natural disaster movies where like a big wave's coming. And then the government facility doors are closing, and I'm just like a civilian who just like made it in, and the door slams shut. And I'm like, oh shit, woo! You guys need a janitor. So
no, they want you to draw cartoons in the post-apocalyptic hellscape.
I can do that. I'm fine with that.
Hell yeah.
So yeah, that's very nice. I feel good about it. It's just it's always I'm hoping it's still the beginning of my career. I want to keep taking it into places.
Yeah, what would be your ideal life if you had everything you ever wanted with animation?
I'd become an evil maniac, probably. No,
nice.
No, I mean, I guess the ideal would be probably like pitch and sell a cartoon show. But that's like pie in the sky shit. So if I'm like trying to like actually ground my career, it's like I would like to either start in like the next 10 years, like direct television style episodes or break into storyboarding for features. I've been also considering like, man, it'd be cool to break into live action storyboarding. I would really like to do that. I've rented from the library recently the Big Lebowski storyboard book. Highly recommend checking that out for anybody. If you live in a city with a solid library system, you should find that. If not, it's like not that expensive online. Definitely get that. That's very cool. Super stylish. And I wish I remembered his name, but it's like, it reminds me of this guy, Nate McDonough. Damn, I might be butchering his name. But he makes a great indie comic called Grixley. Grixley Comics. Look it up. It rules. His Patreon's one of the best. His comics are wonderful. But it's like, he has such a vision and style of drawing. And those boards reminded me of that. And it really like, ooh, that'd be cool. I like putting my vision into the storyboards, and people can do what they will with it. So that'd be cool to transition. But I did hear AI might be really, really, really fucking up live action stuff like that. So we'll see.
I'm sure. Are there any unions involved with storyboard artists?
Yeah, so I'm in the Animation Guild, TAG for short. So that covers storyboard artists, animators, production. They're trying to get production actually into it, which is fair. They really should be involved.
Yeah, that's interesting.
Yeah, they hadn't been for a while. Dude, there's so many places sometimes I find out, like, I don't think Pixar is union, which, like, blew my mind.
Wow.
I don't think Rough Draft is, which is not so. I mean, the deals are also wild, too, where it's like... Writers on The Simpsons make residuals, but the directors don't.
Can you talk a little bit more about your relationship to film? Because obviously you're an artist, but have you always been interested in film as well? Or was it more when you moved to LA that you became interested in it?
I grew up in like superhero comics and like all the genre stuff. I really do love that. And I was really attached to comics for a long time. And then comics were just constantly rebooting themselves. It's really funny to see what made me fall out of love with mainstream comics is exactly what happened to all the superhero movies, where it's just rebooting itself, doing all these things. And it really just kind of bums you out after a while. But when I was really burnt out of movies like 10 years ago, like right before and during when I moved to LA, I remembered in senior year, someone was just like introducing me to all these old movies and just movies I had never seen before, heard about. I mentioned The Big Lebowski earlier. I didn't like that when I first saw it. I remember seeing it in college with a girl that I was definitely trying to like, impress and flirt with. And she was like, I want to show you the funniest movie I've ever seen. And I was, for some reason in my head, I was like, right on, we're going to watch Anchorman.
Oh man, I just rewatched Anchorman, which is a movie that I've seen so many times.
It's hilarious still.
I loved it so much. I actually feel like I was like not getting the funny this time. I was like,
really?
It was weird. No, and I'm not. It's not like it didn't age well, like it was problematic or something like that. But I was just like, yeah, like it felt very cutesy in a way. Mm-hmm. And there was this thing where I was just like, yeah, this must have just struck me as being so original and so new. And then of course,
it was just really like it's very stupid.
Everything aped it. Yeah, yeah.
Which I appreciate. I like a really dumb.
Elena has no taste for these things.
I don't.
Elena hates.
That's fair.
People being stupid.
Elena introduced me to Monty Python, and I remember seeing that and being like, "What? I don't fucking get this at all." When we were in high school, I was like, "What is this?" But now I love them, of course. But it's like that's how my taste has changed. Where I was just like, when I was younger, I was like, I don't get why this is good at all. And then it would like take me a while to like really get it.
Do you feel like you like things that seem like they're working, or like did you have like an allergic to like weirdness, or just like weirdness for weirdness' sake, or?
No, wait, I can tell you, Frank did not have an allergy to weirdness because
definitely not.
He put on a really weird movie one time when we hung out.
What was it?
I don't know if I should tell this story because if it's TMI, I don't have to share it, Frank. But
go for it.
So Frank and I had a very brief flirtation, and we made out once, and you put a movie on right when we were about to make out, and it was, I don't remember the name. It's that one that has like the action figures, and they're like...
Superstar? Oh, no.
No, wait, what was the one?
Superstar? Not the Todd Haynes movie where he's Barbie dolls of the story of Karen Carpenter.
No, they're like
Small
action.
soldiers?
They're like action hero people, and it's like
Team America.
Team America.
Oh.
And you thought that was a good movie to make out to, and it was not. It was really not a good movie for that.
See, that's me being selfish. I know exactly why I did a pull to move like that, because part of me was like, I really want to make out with this girl. And then another part of me is like, I love this movie. That is how my brain definitely operates.
I feel that this is actually a good way to bring us back to the subject of this podcast episode.
Please bring us back to it.
Because, well, weirdness, but also just, yeah, like, I think that Bakshi is a figure that is obviously polarizing, and the poles essentially, the axis rests on, I guess, if you find offensive things funny, or if you can, how much you have the ability to ironize about fucked up things, right? Elena, how do you feel like your ability is in this regard? Or
Yeah, okay, I'm going to say that watching this movie, Heavy Traffic, was a challenging experience for me. So I have a lot of mixed feelings, because on the one hand, it's a movie that is intended to be offensive and unpleasant and grotesque, and it achieves all of those things. I really didn't enjoy the experience of watching the movie because I found it to be offensive, unpleasant, and grotesque. But
you found it to be offensive. It offended you.
No, I wouldn't say it
Okay.
offended me. Well, I mean, okay, it does suck to always watch female characters having their tits pop out all the time. So I guess there was like,
Oh, but there's dicks popping out just as much.
I know it's offensive
Let's
on
just,
all
let's
levels.
just be fair.
Yes.
That is fair.
Yeah, come on. There are dicks in this movie.
But no, I wasn't watching it being like, I'm so offended right now. But I could recognize that it was trying to be offensive. On the other hand, it is not just a movie that's offensive for the sake of shock value. It is a critique on society, a rejection of traditional values. It's a rejection of old Hollywood, and there was artistry behind it. So I found it very interesting to consider the movie.
I just like you being like,
after.
I am offended, but this is a rejection of old Hollywood values, so I appreciate it on that level. So that counteracts the offensiveness.
There's just a lot of movies that I watch that I don't actually enjoy watching them at the time, and I never want to see them again, but I'm glad to have watched them, and I think that they add a lot to the movie canon, and I consider this movie to be one of those.
I also think
movies.
your take on Bakshi is very, like, I think almost every person I talk to who appreciates a Bakshi film has similar views of Bakshi. Where it's
Wait,
just,
okay, I'm sorry. You're saying Bakshi. Is it
I'm
Bakshi?
saying it wrong. Am I saying it wrong?
No,
I
no.
think you're saying it
Well,
wrong.
we're saying Bakshi, and you're saying Bashki. I think it's Bakshi. I think it's Bakshi.
Oh man, I really thought
Bakshi.
you would at least
Like, a Bakshi,
Yeah,
me,
dude.
I Bakshi you.
Bakshi.
You know? I think
How
it's
I
Bakshi.
have mentioned like 8 names in this podcast and have admitted that I've gotten them all wrong.
Oh no! I wasn't like criticizing you. I was like, wait, have we been researching this person for days and
No,
not
no, no. I bet
pronouncing
you
it
you're
correctly?
right.
Okay.
I think it's Bakshi.
Okay.
It's Bakshi.
Anyway, sorry.
So,
Whatever. He's a
here, like,
fairly,
I'm gonna say a blank one. Bakshi, and then you can edit that in
Thank
to
you
every
for
single
that.
time I fucked it up.
That's. I
Perfect.
can't wait to do that. That's very helpful of you. Thank you.
No, I that is he is a polarizing figure.
But so okay, so Elena, you basically didn't dig it. I want to get kind of like the range of opinions that we have.
No, like, I'm not going to say I didn't dig it. Like I said,
Okay,
I didn't enjoy the experience of watching it, but I appreciate it and feel like it's a very interesting movie to think about. So I'm not going to say, like, there's some movies where I just don't like them, but this is not one of those.
Yeah.
It's how my girlfriend feels about this movie too, and she was like, I can appreciate aspects, but I don't hate it, but
Yeah.
I'm really hoping that you deeply love this movie.
I do. Yeah.
Frank.
for
Okay,
sure.
okay. Because I feel like I might be in. I'm hoping that I'm going to be in the middle of you two. I hope it's not like us two basically having the same opinion
Versus
than
me.
you. Yeah, right. Exactly. So you really love it. Like you think this is a great movie, and
Really love it might be too.
Okay.
I'm not sure that is correct. I mean, ironically, I think it's problematic more so in terms of actually being a movie.
Yeah, that would be nice.
Not necessarily in its content. I have opinions about the content, no doubt, but especially when you read that Bakshi book Unfiltered, like I remember reading that in high school and getting teacher getting pissed because there were just like tit drawings on like every other page. I read that cover to cover, and it's kind of also like a biography about him. That book helped me understand Bakshi as a character and a person a little bit. And it's like, it's definitely a warts and all book. I guess in terms of just saying, like, reading that book and like listening to interviews with him, I understand why he represents everything the way he does, but I don't necessarily agree with it. But it's also his point of view. I mean, he was thing. He was born in a fucking way different era than us. And not even just like, oh, old people are old. Like, no, like there were like horse and buggy carts in New York. Like we have no comprehension of what that's like. He was like when that's like just around, not for like a fun little tourist thing.
Yeah, I mean, he was literally born in like the British municipality of Palestine, like back when that was a thing. Like he was born. He is from a different time.
Yeah. But I think he grew up.
No, he grew up in
Brooklyn.
In Brooklyn, of course.
So.
But I'm saying he reaches back very far in time.
Yeah.
There's
a sequence in the movie that like reminded me of that the sequence of I forget her name, Michael's mom, when she's drunk walking home and like walking through her memories and pictures. I'm like, that's just like, because Bakshi was like probably definitely not in his 40s yet, I don't think, when he was making this. So that's a person who's not even halfway through their life looking back at like someone of his parents' age. Like,
yeah, there was a really touching moment in that sequence when the mom sees an old picture of herself and she doesn't recognize it as herself at first. And she's like, oh, that's a pretty person. And then she's like, oh, that was me, And
she's like horrified by it.
Yeah. That is one of the best moments of the movie.
Yeah. And that's really interesting.
That's the genuine artistry of the movie.
Yeah, totally. I think the artistry comes out right from the very beginning with the poem, with the spoken word. Without that opening, I imagine there might be a lot of people who would just turn it off immediately and say, like, this is just extreme violence and sex. Mm-hmm. But because of that opening sequence, I really think it places it in the context of art.
I could see a lot of people turning this off at, like, any moment, honestly. Yeah. Like, the movie, the narrative loses me every now and then, but it's also, like, we were talking about taste earlier and, like, how my own personal taste has changed. If I saw this 10, 12 years ago, I probably wouldn't have, I would have, like, admired moments of animation in it, but I probably wouldn't, I would have been like, this movie sucks as a movie. Now I can look at it and go, like, there are aspects of it not working as a movie, and this is also hindsight, looking at the animated film landscape of the United States, we have literally nothing that is in this vein right now. There's a lot of really good indie art, independent animators working. That's not a toss under like, oh, things were better in the old days. Like, there's so many independent artists working now. It's just animation takes forever.
Right.
When you're alone or have a very small team. You need a budget. So, in hindsight, to look at a movie like this, when I was rewatching it last night, I was like, God, it's so Lynchian. And then I felt like an asshole because I was like, maybe Lynch feels more like Bakshi because technically he was first. That weird sequence at the end when they're in the arcade, there's just an old man in like a little go-kart thing it's not even moving. He's just sitting there. He's just like, it's like a David Lynch moment of just some old man sitting there. And then a dude who's like, pretends to get shot, falls over, and then you see someone in a photo booth, and all you see is the pants being dropped. Is like, it's just taking a picture, and we hold on that for like 20 seconds.
That was like one of my favorite parts of the movie because it was honestly like representing that sort of chicken fat Mad Magazine sort of like idea of like having all of this shit happening, but in live action. He's like, it really has nothing to do with whether it's animated or real. It's just about like action and having a perspective on it and composing the scene. I thought that was one of the most masterful touches, to be honest.
He's like, it's so weird for a guy to be so misogynistic and sexist and racist. I don't think he's actually a racist. I think in the content he's made definitely has racism in it, though. I can't
wait for the three of us to just litigate the hell out of this person's racism and just make the definitive statement on.
I got no definitive statement of him. All I'm saying is I don't know how. I don't sense evil malice coming from him in any way. I think, again, I just take it as like, I love Osamu Tezuka, the creator of Astro Boy. He's made so much manga and stuff that we're just getting in the States now. When you go to his more adult stuff, it's fucking awesome because it's very, very blunt writing. It's very kind of black and white thinking, but artsy black and white thinking. So it's not anything I would socially agree with. But when you're kind of bored of a lot of stuff getting made right now, sometimes that like exploitative, blunt style of storytelling is just for me at least, it's just a refresher of like, well, I've never seen anything like that before. That was crazy.
Yeah.
Did it refresh you, Elena? Yeah, no, I can feel Elena. So Elena was wanting to wait to get into the controversial stuff, but well, no, just to do you want to talk about?
We can just talk. We can get into it now. It's not hate, actually. When I first saw the movie, I was like, "Oh, geez, these racial stereotypes and the violence and sexuality, obviously, also." But I was especially, concerned about talking this movie regarding like how it depicts race. Then I learned more about Bakshi's approach to everything. I learned about some other movies he made. So I guess we should say like he made this other movie. It's called, I feel uncomfortable even saying the title. It's called Coonskin. I'm going to refer to it as Harlem Nights, which was its like working title. I know that's confusing because there's another movie called Harlem Nights, but I just don't want to have to keep like saying a racial slur when I'm talking about this movie. Fair. So I'm going to refer to it as Harlem Nights. But that movie, from what I've read, I haven't seen it. I've seen clips of it. But from what I've read about it, he's explicitly trying to tackle racism. And the way he tries to do that is to exaggerate racist stereotypes that have been used in animation in the past, like Disney, like Song of the South in particular.
And the entirety of the history of animation is kind of based on minstrel shows.
Yeah. And so he takes what's been done in other movies or in other animation movies, exaggerates it to hold it up and criticize it so that like you're watching something racist, but he's doing it on purpose to make you be critical of it. And like there's a quote from author and performance artist Darius James who says, "Bakshi pukes the iconographic bile of a racist culture back in its stupid, bloated face, wipes his chin, and smiles dirty Harry style." So
that's a good quote.
Yeah.
That is a good one.
So like that approach to try and criticize racism by exaggerating it like that, it's really walking a tightrope. Like I understand
I agree.
You don't say.
Like, obviously, I don't think anybody would do that now. And I don't know that he should have done it at the time.
Okay, yeah. So I have a lot of thoughts about this, and I just kind of want to put some things on the table, okay? So, one, let's talk about Blazing Saddles. Let's get into this, like, classic, let's litigate this. The Blazing Saddles could never be made today, right? Okay? And there's, the arguments that people say, like, that's crazy. That is a silly thing to say. It wouldn't be made today because we don't need it. And like they're still implying that it is true that it couldn't be made today, but that it's a good reason for it not to be able to be made today. And then other people say it's bad that it wouldn't be able to be made today, presumably because it would say the same things, but people wouldn't take it well. I don't know. Mm-hmm. But if you put on Blazing Saddles for a contemporary audience, maybe not every single, white liberal college educated audience, but most people will get it and laugh now. And like they can see through the layers, especially if you talk about Richard Pryor was very influential on it and stuff, and they could say like, I see the satire, I see what this is doing. If you put on Heavy Traffic for a lot of people these days, I think that there would be a lot more people who would not be on board.
Because I think the satire isn't obvious when you're watching Heavy Traffic.
Right. Yeah,
agreed.
Exactly.
Yeah, I don't think it's obvious in any of his movies that tackle these subjects, to be honest.
It's not very funny.
He makes a movie later in his career called American Pop, which is incredible.
We watched it. It's so good.
It's really good.
It's so much better than this movie. Now, I like this movie too, but it is amazing.
I think American Pop's my favorite. I love Heavy Traffic because, like I said, it's or I should say, Lynch reminds me like
it's
this
raw and
reminds me of
unfiltered.
Mulholland Drive. There's just so much artistic choices and styles in it.
Yeah,
he's putting his brain
there are
on the
moments
page.
when like characters are freaking out where like the screen becomes like 8 different colors. It's like red, white, boom, boom, and it's just like pauses on an amazing drawing. And I am an animator, right? I come from this background, so like I'm like zeroing in on certain things that an audience member who isn't into what I'm into, they're put off by what the film's presenting. They are gonna walk out. I get that, but American Pop doesn't feature any of this, so it's like, yeah, I don't think his satire is good satire at all. And then, so it's like, that's where it's like, I don't agree with how he went about that.
Can we contrast him with another figure, R. Crumb?
Yeah, I mean, that's an easy one to go, especially since they're kind of linked together with Fritz, and they had to like, Crumb hates that movie.
That's right. And Bakshi, they each have interesting criticisms of each other. Sorry, were you going to say something?
No, go ahead.
Well, okay, so, right. Bakshi is this product of an inner city background where he's this son of Jewish immigrants, growing up during times of intense racism, and he identifies with the black community that is around him. Okay, like, and this is in a point in time when, like, we all live now with the idea of like it's extremely corny for like a white kid to be so into black culture in this way. But back then, it actually really was a lot more novel and a lot more of a kind of just unusual stance for a young, like, white teen. Like, he actually...
Is it corny, though? I feel like...
I'm saying we've developed this idea of it being corny, of, like, the white kid who thinks he's black. Like, that's this thing that we think of, like, sneering at now. But, like, back then, in the late 40s, he campaigned to be the one white kid at an all-black school because that's what he wanted. And the police got involved, and they pulled him out because white racists were pissed off that he was there. I mean, it's like... So he was like...
It's a wild character, man.
He's a wild character. Yeah. He's like he's a woke king in a way, but
definitely not. He definitely isn't. But trust me, I've heard. I have met
fair enough.
people who've worked with him.
Yeah, no, I believe it's not. That's the thing, though. No, so he's growing up around black people, identifying with black culture, and yet when he draws black people and when he puts things in their mouth, it sure does seem that he sees them in a very stereotypical fashion. Yeah. And Crumb, by the way, has a different background and is a white kid from white land looking at black culture from the outside. And his description of his youth is like, yeah, I was the white kid who would go knock on black people's doors and ask if they had old records. He was a very like hipster white person looking at black culture. I don't think that Crumb identified with Black America in the same way that Bakshi did. That said, I do think there's one key difference as far as I see it, though, with him and Crumb, whereas, like, I think that Bakshi really does think that he is trying to make a difference.
Yeah.
And I feel like he is trying to marshal his talents, and he has a social point that he's trying to make. Crumb, I don't think cares at all. Crumb, and I'm not saying this as a negative. I'm serious. I think it just pours out of Crumb. Right, like I think, and I will say, I think that Crumb is, in my opinion, one of the 10 most important and influential visual artists of the 20th century. I mean, I don't know visual art that well, but it's not a crazy thing to make. Bakshi is not like one of the greatest artists of all time. I feel like Crumb gets away with his stuff because he is pouring out of himself this beautiful, perfect rendering of a thing, and Bakshi is trying to cobble together his art to say something, and I don't know if I think that it's
Bakshi's also got this gruff grotesque, and Crumb could be very grotesque, no doubt, but Bakshi in general I think is just more grotesque than Crumb in presentation. Again, nowadays you can, unless someone brought it up to you, you might be able to avoid all the bad Crumb shit or like Crumb stuff that people don't really like. You could just get the art and beauty books.
Yeah.
Kind of thing, and like, oh wow, these are like such amazing drawings. And then if you compare to Bakshi, where it's like, oh, he's so good, but there's going to be some caveats. Heads up, if you watch this, I got to give you some warning. Like kind of for like everything he's ever done.
Bakshi has the Lord of the Rings and the Wizards side that has not. I mean, the Crumb would never have done.
Wizards kind of sucks.
Well, I've never seen it, but
we saw Lord of the Rings. Lord of the Rings, we really didn't like. to be
Yeah,
honest.
I tried.
hate
It's
it.
like I couldn't get into that either. It's a bummer.
I
Cool
wanted-
World is terrible.
I wanted to punch Lord of the Rings in the face so hard. I wanted to bully the fuck out of Lord of the Rings. It was like evoking this kind of nerdiness that doesn't exist in the culture anymore. And I was like, right, we hate nerds. Nerds are awful. Fuck these people. Fuck you.
Yep.
That was my...
I mean, it makes sense why he doesn't necessarily have a Hollywood career, right? Like, it's so much of my opinion of Bakshi is like just looking in hindsight and looking around me right now, and then just being stunned and baffled and impressed and offended. And
He's an anomaly. I want to read this quote by Crumb on Bakshi and Bakshi on Crumb.
Go ahead.
Is that okay? So this is Crumb on Bakshi. R. Crumb, who created Fritz the Cat, hates the movie, claims Bakshi fucked it up. But so this is his response to the movie and the work of Bakshi in general. And I will not do it in an R. Crumb impression because that would be too uncomfortable. It's weird. It's really a reflection of Ralph Bakshi's confusion, you know? There's something real repressed about it. In a way, it's more twisted than my stuff. It's really twisted in some kind of weird, unfunny way. It's compulsive or something. Like that sex attitude in it very much. It's like real repressed horniness. He's kind of letting it out compulsively. So that's R. Crumb on Bakshi.
I mean, I do feel like...
He's reading him perfectly.
Yeah, there was like very clearly like
Yeah.
he felt like that Virgin Michael character who is just super horny and seeing everybody in a really like overtly sexual way.
To call R. Crumb repressed would be quite incorrect, I would say. And so here's Bakshi on Crumb. He goes in so many directions that he's hard to pin down. I spoke to him on the phone. We both had the same deal, 5%. They finally sent Crumb the money and not me. Crumb always gets what he wants, including that chateau of his in France. I have no respect for Crumb. Is he a good artist? Yes, if you want to do the same thing over and over. He should have been my best friend for what I did with Fritz the Cat. I drew a good picture and we both made out fine. So Bakshi criticizing Crumb for mine in the same trench over and over again. I don't know. I just like...
Hilarious.
I do feel that these are speaking to a sort of cleaving point between them because, yes, again, I do feel that Crumb does not have... some of the things that Bakshi has in him, such as Lord of the Rings, such as American pop. Maybe American pop is something that Crumb could have done some version of.
Yeah, I would say Crumb definitely has his version of American pop within the his legacy of art.
Yeah, certainly later Crumb can get in that direction.
For sure.
But yeah, Bakshi, I think essentially, Bakshi has this desire to do something. Like he wants to be kind of important in a way, and Crumb just wants to draw pictures like that. He just can't help but draw the pictures of the lizards getting fucked, and that's what makes him happy. I don't know. And I just
it's it's the rock meets the immovable object or whatever that's.
They're so the same. You mean like they're
so the same in terms of like it's two it's two assholes who are very good at what they do, who also really care about what they do, and are very opinionated about what they do. I want to hear your takes really bad. I see the patience on your face. You're sitting there like an assassin.
No, I don't know. Like,
Ready.
If you guys think I'm about to, if Sam's not binary, so if y'all think I'm about to like just shit on this movie, I'm really not. I have good things about it. I've got bad things about it.
Well, no, so what I want, and I want to hear what you're going to say, but what I want from you is like, I want the perspective of, like, I feel like I'm not quite offended by it. I do wish that it was a little bit better so that I feel like I like in quality wise, so that I could argue to somebody like, oh no, you should watch this. This is worthwhile, even though it's offensive. Like I am not bothered by it, but like I do wish that I had. But I am interested in the perspective of somebody. If you are in fact like truly bothered by it in any way, I would like to hear that voiced. But if you're not, that's fine too.
Well, no. First of all, regarding like really quickly, just to wrap up my thoughts about the racial stereotypes in his movies. When I first watched it, I was really bothered by it. And then when I realized he was trying to do it on purpose to criticize racism, I don't think, like we said, I don't think the satire is very good. But the fact that he was at least trying to be critical of it makes it a little easier for me to engage with the movie knowing that. I don't know how effective he was or if that method he used is an okay one to use. But, okay, moving on to the other things like the sex and the violence. Well, first of all, I don't like gross animation. So that's just like a taste thing. And is it supposed to be funny? When y'all watch things like this, where there's a lot of overt violence and gross sexuality, do you find it funny?
It kind of turns me on. I don't know.
It honestly depends on execution, whether I'm going to think it's funny or not. It's kind of like reading Bukowski. There are
great. Here we go.
I'm going to just I'm laughing out loud.
I
cannot help it. But I also I've never been as bad as like a Bakshi or like a Bukowski or anything like that, but I've been in moments in my life where I've had my own, like, I'm dealing with my own inner darkness, and like when I see them, I laugh at like someone else expressing it through a story or art or something like that. So like there are definitely moments in this movie that do make me laugh. That the sequence when Michael's parents are just beating the shit out of each other, and he's like getting all these ideas about it. I'm laughing because that reminded me of like my parents' fights. My parents were never physical with each other. We would get some hits sometimes. So because of that, it's like, I'm gonna laugh at that because I took the licks in that regard. But also I can just so project myself into the Michael character in that specific moment, not the whole movie, just that specific moment of like a cartoonist. He's literally like a cartoonist in this movie. He's just at his desk drawing while his parents are like fucking destroying themselves around him, and he's like laughing at it. That I think sums up the humor for me. But again, like humor is so subjective.
Well, I mean, for me with like offensive stuff, it's like I am just like fundamentally not really offended by an idea. I can find an idea expressed that I don't agree with. But, like, it's like Anthony Jeselnik has this thing. Again, this sounds... I'm not, like, a big Anthony Jeselnik fan, but, like, this is... I think this...
He makes me laugh.
He's made me laugh, okay. But, like, his thing is, like, people think that, being a shock comic is just, like, thinking of the most offensive, fucked up thing you can say and then saying it. And he's like, no, the art is making that palatable. Mm-hmm. Like, the art is in finding the execution of the offensive thing that... in some way, or whatever it's doing, it undercuts the offensiveness for some people, right? And I would say this movie is not doing... like, that's essentially the problem with this, is, like, it's not... the execution isn't there. But again, I understand that, like, the sloppiness of it is part of the goal, so that execution is there. It's just, like, it doesn't result in any sort of, like, cute little human moments between people where... they're being funny or cute. It's everyone's very aggressive with each other constantly and very, very aggro.
That fucked up scene on, I guess it did make me laugh. I don't know why it made me laugh, but that fucked up scene on the roof.
For
being a virgin.
That made me
and
laugh.
then they're just like beating the shit out of each other and stabbing one another.
I love that. Yeah.
I feel like that was a big scene in the movie. So for anybody who hasn't watched it, Michael, who's kind of a stand-in for Bakshi, it's a semi-autobiographical work, being made fun of for being a virgin, and then there's just this chick, scantily clad, like, oh, come fuck me, and so then
on a dirty mattress on the roof.
Yeah. And he just, Michael...
that is hilarious.
Yeah.
Like, so far when you're watching the movie, you're like, every person in this movie is a piece of shit. Yeah. Except for the main character, Michael, who seems like a normal person. He kind of is a piece of shit,
though.
No, I love Carol, though.
But I think Carol's
great. Carol's the whole movie.
I'm not going to say she's great. She's okay.
Carol is the saving grace of the movie, in a way.
Yes.
But we'll talk about her in a minute.
Okay, anyways, back to Michael, though. You, at first, don't realize he's a piece of shit until the roof scene, because then when they make fun of him for being a virgin and that chick's like, come fuck me, he gets this evil look on his face, and he's like, okay. And then he goes over... about to fuck her and accidentally pushes her off the roof, and he has this like terrible grin and says something like, she had it coming, and that's when you're like, oh, everybody in this movie sucks. Everybody in this movie is a piece of shit except for Carol.
But then the movie...
and see, that line isn't a punchline to me. Like, maybe it is for somebody else, but when I was laughing during that scene, it was more like I'm laughing at scenes in the movie and like the certain situations it sets up. Like the way you described it, like these fucking Italian dudes just making fun of this kid for fucking being a virgin, and then there's like some chick on a dirty mattress on a roof. Like the scene is making me laugh. It's
Yes.
not that like when she had a cut, like Andrew Dice Clay punchline, like this. I could leave that, but it's like the situation in of itself is.
The movie doesn't kill that girl. She is.
No, she's hanging on
She's
a
hanging
clothesline.
off of a thing.
That's
Is that
true.
supposed to make Michael more sympathetic?
No, he thought she
accidentally
died.
didn't kill her.
It's just to let you know she didn't die.
I know, but other people die. So like, why?
But
is
there's
she the
an
one that saved?
amazing shot in that scene too, because all this is drawn, and it's so hard to animate in perspective. And there's a fucking awesome shot in that sequence that's just a down shot of them talking on the roof, and she's like on the mattress, and you really get to see it. Like the film is split up between some backgrounds are drawn, and they have this like kind of like psychedelic coloring look to it sometimes. Sometimes it's like etchings and really fine pen nib drawings. And then other times it's a collage of real pictures or actual film that they've like kind of slowed down a bit, which I think is a cool move.
And they're like different levels of
And-
blurriness too.
Yeah.
I like
And
it.
it's like that whole sequence is a moment where they're all drawn backgrounds. And the way that they do some perspective, it's juicy. It's like, oh my, it's a moment like that in the movie. I'm like, I wish this was drawn the whole time. And then it'll go to like that sequence with the Godfather. That whole sequence is fucking rules. Again, it's not really, it's not a good scene, but it rules.
I do like him putting that spaghetti in his mouth.
If you're an aspiring artist or you're fucking scratching your head, you're a working artist who's scratching your head about like, how do I depict evil in a way that isn't a Marvel movie? Just go to that sequence and like, boop, 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 there's so many good moments in that because it's very nefarious and it's all done with that collage photorealistic background. And it's like, all of a sudden I'm not even missing the drawn backgrounds. It makes me forget. But then you get a fucking, the death sequence at the end of the movie with the melting drawn backwards, and it's like, oh my god, they're back. It's
weird. I obviously noticed the mixed media aspect of it, that there's live action and animation. I didn't notice it with the backgrounds until I read it, and I'm like, really? That was going on the whole time? I just like didn't
That's kind of
notice.
cool. You didn't notice that though. That's interesting.
You're like, this just looks like my everyday life.
I think it does speak to like how well he put it together as a piece of art.
It's very well
like,
integrated.
I think it's like a more of a, because again, it's not a good movie, but
It is a good movie. I don't mean to be so down on it. It's good.
I compare it to something. I was just talking with my friend about this. Have you two seen Showgirls?
Of course.
I haven't actually.
You've watched part of it.
Really?
Yeah, we started it. You didn't.
Why did we stop?
It was late at night, but you were also like, this movie's very extreme.
It
might-
is a very
yeah.
extreme. That's another very extreme movie. I guess that's why I compare it to this, right?
Right.
Showgirls is also a very extreme movie that most of my life I heard is like one of the worst movies ever made. And then we had a group of friends over and we put it on and watched it. And I was so fucking offended by that opinion because I was like, all my life I've heard that this is like the worst movie ever made.
No.
When it ended, I was like, this is one of the best movies I've ever watched. It's insane. There are insane takes. But again, I don't know, for my argument, I'm like, I definitely have met women like that.
You found it so relatable?
A little bit. I mean, I dated a stripper at one point, and I was like, yeah, sometimes
They've all got big dreams and they need to get them quashed. That's another movie where everybody is screaming in each other's face every second. Like, everybody's like really angry with another character all the time.
It's very extreme, and I compare it to Heavy Traffic in that way, where it's like, I get why a lot of people don't think it's a good movie, but I do think it is, because there's just, but maybe it's only a good movie to other artists, and I hate how pretentious that sounds, but
Maybe
it
Showgirls is only a good movie to other artists.
No, just in terms of like, dude, there's a great shot in Showgirls.
No,
where
it's Paul
like,
Verhoeven, of course. No, I love
one take
Showgirls.
when they're going through the dancing room and the behind the scenes. Like, it's an awesome one take. That's why I just fundamentally disagree that it's like inherently a bad movie, because then you're completely discrediting the director of photography. And that's kind of how I feel with Heavy Traffic. It's like, it's kind of like an art student film. Bakshi he's like, really, it's like a more idea-based than narrative-based. It's how can I execute it and get it done? So maybe that's also why the satire's not working like he thought it would. So it's more just kind of like watching this very gruff, blunt man create art.
It actually reminded me a lot of Jean-Luc Godard movies. Have you seen any Godard movies?
Yeah,
So
I could see that.
Just the aspect of like not going for perfection, it being really rough and low budget, doing what you can do. I don't actually know how much budget
breaking
Godard had.
rules deliberately, sometimes not even to the effect of making it better, just to have broken the rule.
Yeah,
And for
being
sure,
like,
he did do that. Like in
Yes.
that book, the Unfiltered book, he talks often about like just being so like fucking
Sick of
angry
the
at Disney
stuff, yeah.
and
Right.
that he was breaking rules on purpose and definitely to detriments.
yeah, and like
And it was lower budget for the time. I know that for sure.
You don't say.
what Bakshi stuff?
Yeah.
Well, no, wait. Heavy Traffic. The budget was actually like I thought it was kind of big for the time. It was sorry, let me pull it up. And you, Frank, you would know much better how good of a budget this is. $950,000 was the budget.
I want to say Disney's movies were probably in like cost like $1 million or $2 million, but that is still pretty high for that time. Like that's not a cheap budget for 73. This was 73, right?
Yeah, especially for like an independent movie. I don't know. I was
That
kind of
mixes
surprised.
live action and animation.
Yeah, and it doesn't look like a
I
Disney
thought it would've
movie.
been lower.
Like it's
Yeah, I mean, I know it's lower than, like you said, Disney movies, but yeah.
and budgetary saves are kind of part of Bakshi's thing, like the rotoscoping. Sometimes it's hard to tell what's art and what is convenience with him.
I don't think anything in Heavy Traffic is
No,
rotoscope.
that's not.
But
that's
in
not.
like Lord of the Rings and
Yes,
shit like
right.
that,
Yeah.
Fire Nice. For
But
sure.
but the live action backgrounds too in Heavy Traffic are part of this possible thing. I'm sorry. What were you saying?
Well, no, let's that question of laziness, I guess. Can we talk about that for a sec? Because I know that there is a lot of criticism about Bakshi as an animator. Like, a lot of people are like, he never puts shadows on his characters, and so they look like they're just like walking in midair with a background behind it. And I know that, from his perspective, sounds like he would prefer not being hindered by perfectionism, and he'd rather just like make what you can on the budget you can and get it out there. Like, let's not just stick with what Disney drilled into our brain that we needed everything to look totally perfect, because then they're the only ones putting animation out there. So from your perspective as a cartoonist and animator, like, what do you think about his actual skill?
Think about those drawings.
I mean, sometimes they're really good, sometimes they really suck, but same with some of my drawings. Yeah, I don't know. His art is kind of like his movies for me. It's like, sometimes I look at something, I'm like, that's so good. And other times I'm just like, it's kind of like when I discovered punk late in life. I was too old. I discovered it really more when I was in LA at like 23, 24. And I feel like I was too old to really be like, have the youthful energy, like getting into a punk scene. But what I really liked was the DIY ethos, and a lot of independent and alternative cartoonists came from the punk scene back in the 80s and 90s that I really admire. And those are the people I really admire usually are just someone who has a point of view. I mean, that's the whole battle with AI right now, is just that, like, okay, it's going to be used, it's going to be a tool, blah, 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 I get it. But if people are just going to present me like, this is a completely AI idea, it's just, there's no point of view. Like,
Oh man, what if it develops one though? What if it's like suddenly coming and it's like talking and it's like telling stories from its like growing up as a young AI and like it's seeing the world in a way that you couldn't see in your little suburban
It would
life?
be pretty tight if we got an actual AI point of view where it was like trippy as fuck.
A
where it's
coming
like,
of age
this is-
AI.
Yeah, coming of age. What is coming of age to an AI though? What is coming into consciousness of like what is technological consciousness?
That's not my POV. I don't have that POV.
Is it gonna look like 2001? Are we going through the thing? That would be kind of cool.
But no, it also sucks and fuck AI.
I like comparing this movie to American Pop because, in my opinion, American Pop, in most people's opinions, I think American Pop is technically the better movie, and it's a more enjoyable experience to watch. It's much more polished.
So much more enjoyable.
Yeah, like I would want to like
It's a
show it
movie.
to people. It's a movie.
Yes.
Yeah.
It's like it's a crowd pleaser, and but it's safe. And I weirdly, I enjoyed the experience of watching American Pop so much more. But I have a bit more of an affinity towards Heavy Traffic, I would say, in terms of
It's deeper and
movie
richer
as an art. Yeah.
American Pop is kind of it's a story. It's this sort of, it tracks the history of... It's pop. But it tracks the history of music and crime and immigrant experience. It tracks like the several generations throughout the 20th century through music.
It's a much more intelligent script in that regard, in terms of like making commentary on society. Whereas like a Heavy Traffic, no doubt there is commentary within it, but it's very artsy, and it's very artsy and also very blunt.
Yeah.
And in
raw.
a way, in that and raw. And yeah, I love the rawness in terms of where it's like, oh, maybe you only need 8 frames to pull off that move. You don't need 48 drawings and kill yourself to make it perfectly smooth. And then certain character designs are so raw, and they're like, oh yeah, I don't want to draw like that.
Yeah. I usually always would prefer somebody taking a big swing and taking risks and trying to do something different rather than like watch the safer movie. So I appreciate it for that reason.
I mean, this was kind of him continuing sort of his brand after Fritz the Cat, which was his first film.
Have you seen that?
I have. I saw it a while ago when I was a kid. Back when I was back into Crumb.
What do you think of that?
Oh, I think it's okay. I think it's okay.
Yeah,
I mean, it's not amazing.
It's okay. There's so much in Fritz the Cat that for like a first movie that I'm in awe of. Again, some of those backgrounds are just like the background designers he always worked with. They're just like, they crush it. But that, I think once he goes to the desert, that movie like legitimately sucks. Like, I don't think it's still Heavy Traffic that I think he actually really finds his voice.
Well, he wanted to make Heavy Traffic first, and they didn't want to fund that. They didn't want to take a chance on him because he hadn't made a movie yet, and so they were like, you got to make somebody else's IP first. And so I think it kind of makes sense a bit that, you know, it wasn't until Heavy Traffic where you really get a sense of his voice because of that.
But Heavy Traffic's pretty down the line, right? Is it his third, or is it his fourth or third?
It's his second.
It's his second movie?
Is it? Yeah, I think so.
Yeah.
Yeah, he made Fritz the Cat in 72 and then Heavy Traffic in 73. It was his second movie.
Holy shit. I definitely should have done a little research on that regard before doing this. I didn't have time to actually...
Then your mind wouldn't be so thoroughly blown by that it'd only be the second film. Yeah.
It's on.
You don't have to stop the podcast.
That's wild. I'm just so impressed by that. To take such a swing for your second movie, and in the era of animation that he was working.
And like, I think he already like had it all laid out before making Fritz the Cat. Like, I think he had Heavy Traffic already like written and everything.
Can we talk about the nature of him being like the director of his films, which I know was unusual, at least at the time in animation, right? Like they didn't like the idea of him being like people knew him as the creator of these films. They didn't think of like the studio, like Disney made this movie. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, like other movies would be like, this is Disney's Little Mermaid or whatever. And this was Ralph Bakshi's Heavy Traffic.
He's kind of the first animation auteur in that way, and kind of certainly one of the only ones of this period, right? Like, do you know anything about this? Or
I'd probably argue he is the only animation I hesitate to say auteur in terms of animation, because you really
so collaborative.
It's so collaborative. There's so many hands on deck. But also, I completely, when people get like really up in arms about that, I kind of disagree, because like a director is still a director. A director is steering a ship. If a ship sinks, the captain was shit. You know, a successful film is a successful journey. You navigated everything correctly and it worked. I mean, there is no one else, because it is just like Disney's X, Y, and Z. I would say, though, director, like, you may not know the directors, or at least Disney wasn't promoting the directors of like their movies, but like, you know, way before this, you had the Warner Brothers shorts, which oftentimes would at least developed the credits.
Right. I guess you got Tex Avery and Chuck Jones. Yeah. Right. That's true.
Like,
but that's
that is still
that's shorts.
That's shorts, and it's still a very like Hollywood studio system. Bakshi is working in a studio system to a degree because it got distributed and it had funding, but he's definitely working like way outside like it's all being animated in New York.
He had his own production company. And,
yeah.
And so he started at Terry Toons in the 50s, and he started as a cell polisher, where your job is like to take little bits of dirt and stuff off of every individual animation cell, which sounds crazy. Is this something people don't still do this, right? They don't have cells.
No, cells
don't
are
exist
no
anymore.
longer used.
Right. Thank God that job has been taken by the AI. And so he then gets promoted very quickly when people see how ambitious he is, and he gets promoted to the role of a director, and he's like, I am not a director. Like you're calling me a director, but I am at the behest of the story department. They're controlling the storyboards. I couldn't affect anything. I'm trying. I deliberately fuck around with stuff and make it. I'd fuck with the soundtrack and make it weird just so I could make it my own. So I do feel like that he was always eyeing this notion of that position for himself. That idea of getting control of something that he felt like he wasn't able to control.
Yeah, for sure. I'd say in modern animation television pipeline, which, he was working in television pipeline. Terry Toons was television, old television cartoons. In the modern setting, that is still very, very similar. I've actually had recent conversations with some director friends who, grateful for the work, but they don't feel as if they are directing. You are traffic control. You're making sure everything gets up. You still do drawing, like you have some hands-on things, but in terms of story department, if you work on like a primetime show, it's like the script is God. You're very, very lucky if you get writers and executives who are willing to listen to the artists and collaborate.
This is live action TV to an extent as well.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, it's like the writer controls
the showrunner.
Yeah. So it's sad that that quote doesn't sound like too much has changed.
Well, so he has one of these great stories where he was asked by some guy, I can't remember, some studio, can you come in to a meeting with me, carry storyboards, we'll talk about the stuff. That guy's, all of his pitches get totally rejected. As the executives are leaving, Bakshi just says, I have this fucking idea for this parody of superheroes, and he just explains this, and they give it a go. And that was he got it as a segment of Mighty Mouse in the 60s, and that was eventually where he met producer Steve Krantz, who is his
that
producing
name
partner.
sounds familiar. I feel like
he produced
Fritz the Cat.
Fritz the Cat, and then
they got into a
he didn't pay Bakshi for Fritz the Cat because he said it didn't make any money. But he's like, wait a minute, you just buy yourself a new car, and it was a critical success.
It's one of the most successful animated movies of all time.
Yeah.
It was the independent animated movies.
It's pretty crazy that Fritz the Cat was a box office success and Heavy Traffic was. So that's two back-to-back animated movies that were a box office success. Yeah. And I think that he was the only one to do that other than Disney.
Yeah, 2 in a row.
That's it. Yeah, Fleischer couldn't even pull that off back when they did their first animated feature bomb. But they also fucked up. They had the rights to Popeye. If they had done a Popeye movie,
could have changed everything.
I honestly do. I think everything would have been totally changed because they did some really fucking boring Mr. Grasshopper marries Mrs. Grasshopper kind of fairy tale movie. That was really... I remember trying to watch it in college and just being I can't.
Bakshi's personality, there's this I think a pretty famous interview with him on YouTube where people were like, can you give advice to current animators? You worked at a time when the studio system, it was all crumbling and it was really hard to work, but you made it work, and that we're kind of in that system now. What advice do you have? And he gave such boomer energy with his response. He said, it's not crumbling, you're crumbling. You got these computers that can do this stuff for nothing. And what do you do with it? You try to get a job for the asshole studio. It's so dumb. Why can't 6 or 8 animators get together, get a couple of machines, and do a stupid picture? What's stopping you? What's it that's stopping you from writing, directing, and animating something? And he said, you guys sit there crying, and I have no respect for you. And he was like basically telling them like, just quit your jobs and eat really cheap and just make a movie with you and your friends because you have computers to help you make it cheap. And I don't know, I know that he put a lot of his stuff
I also just love that he's not making anything either. So he's like, you should be like me and just not work for 20 years.
He's got a production company though. He's got a production company. I know. I don't know. But he just seems like very hypocritical because like, yeah, he did a lot of stuff independently, but he also did get funding from studios for various projects. And it's just, I hate that mentality.
He ran a Kickstarter to fund one of his films. Yeah, it's like I can appreciate the DIY energy of the statement, but the statement in of itself, it is like finding anything that you don't want necessarily. It's like, I want to see something that isn't just from the mainstream. Especially if you're just trying to find it on like the internet or YouTube. That can be very difficult, right? Where it's like go into YouTube and you're typing in like animated short and you're like hopefully get something good. Newgrounds is still great for that to go on there, and you can still find them.
Oh, good call.
Of course, but like Newgrounds is still good on that. I know I have a lot of friends who still post.
I haven't checked that in so long. Yeah,
there's really impressive stuff. I mean, his statement.
I haven't been in Newgrounds in 18 years.
Same, man. I really hadn't gone back for so long. And then I had some friends posting on there like, you should actually go check it out. Because in my mind, it was like the really like edgelord Newgrounds shit or like really, really early crappy Flash.
Yeah, it's like early internet. Like that to me, that's just like a relic of like it's Homestar Runner or something like that era, you know. But it still exists.
But now they're making like fully produced, some really interesting, some just straight up parodies or whatever, but like, animated and executed internet shorts. There's a difference between getting a feature done and doing a short, whether that short's 4 minutes or you have like a 20-minute episode of something animating. Like 20 minutes of animation is a lot. 90 minutes is insane if you're like a small crew. So yeah, he did get the funding. I mean, like he always had that shit. I do hate when I hear an artist say that kind of stuff because then it is a thing where it's like, well, bro, what? Like even if you have a little company, it's like, what have you been doing? Shouldn't you just be pumping out work every 2 months?
Yeah,
there's a dark version, or there's a dark thing you could read into that, which is just like his thing is like get the movie done. You know, I mean, obviously, like he had ambition, and he wanted to make it right, but like I really do feel like a lot of his movies largely look like shit, and the feeling that you get is this was a budgetary thing, or like he just didn't care. Like a lot of in Lord of the Rings, a lot of the different styles of rotoscoping that he's using, but some of it is just like barely coded over, or just like a character's, like the animation will flash in and out of existence over top of a character. And
have
it's
you
just
ever
like
seen Fire and Ice?
No.
It's even worse.
Yeah, I can only imagine.
That one's on Tubi. I couldn't fucking finish it. It's worth putting on and just scrolling through because you'll see what I mean. It's just kind of
But like, there's a version of him saying that him giving this advice that's like, yeah, make your thing, make it shitty. Who cares? Just fucking finish that thing. I made stuff that sucks. What's stopping you? You know?
It's just such a delicate balance. Like I understand the underground mentality of like just put your stuff out there, but also. Yeah, like maybe there should be a certain bar you're trying to cross in terms of quality.
Yeah, I mean,
I agree.
Well, Bakshi, I mean, he's so experimental. Like his whole thing is like, I want to show something that's never been seen in animation before, right? And so he's experimenting with techniques that make his movies look just completely unlike anything else, and often like the look is bad. Like he has made them look unusually and singularly unappealing. Like it's almost like he discovers ways to make you uncomfortable with drawings that, like, okay, in Heavy Traffic, there's all of this violence throughout the whole thing, but his death scene at the end, the bullet going into his forehead, it's genuinely disturbing, and it hits you in a way where you're like, wait, I thought I was desensitized to this. Like there can actually be death and consequences and like viscerality to the violence in this same drawing style. But
it's clearly on purpose.
Oh, absolutely. No, that is a moment where it doesn't feel like he's just dicking around and playing the pinball machine. It feels like he knew exactly what he was doing, and
he knew when to turn it up.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Right,
yeah. It's funny you mentioned the. I thought I was desensitized to this. I'm a baby. It took me a long time to even like enjoy horror movies. I'll cry during pretty much every single movie, whether it's because I think something's beautiful, sad, scary, sweet, whatever.
Did you cry in this?
But I did, actually. I teared up during Michael's mother's walk.
Yeah. That's
that sent me down a stream of and I'm projecting as well when I view art like that. So I'm projecting a recent loss in my life into that character and that walk down a picture lane. So it definitely, but that's what the point of that scene is. The point of that scene is to think about life. That might make some people emotional. But I have found that, like, still there's images, like, there's that movie Green Room that came out a few years ago about the neo-Nazis who, like, kill all the punks and stuff. There are death scenes in that movie that made me... one in particular that made me depressed for 3 days. Did you see the movie?
I have seen it, yeah.
Okay. The drummer, the way she goes.
I don't really remember it.
The dog.
I don't remember.
A dog.
I don't remember it that fist. Okay.
It's a bump.
It didn't affect me, clearly, in the same way. I got over it.
For like 3 days.
Yeah, it was fine.
But it's... like... I don't think the movie... I understand that the movie is violent, but I don't think any of the violence is real violence. Real. In air quotes. Until that death scene. Because it really feels very intense and real. And the way it goes in and sinks in and blows out the back of... The bullet blows out the back of his head. The bullet's animated in slow motion. There's this amazing... Japanese film based on a manga called Barefoot Gen, and it's all about the bomb dropping on Hiroshima. And there's a sequence in that movie that's like horrifying, and it's all animated, it's all drawings, and it's still just like every time I see it, I'm like, it really hurts. And that's how I even feel. That's how I feel about the gunshot in this movie. I'm like, oh, that really fucking hurts.
That is a theme. It was sort of called forward a little bit in the first scene of the guy who, discovers the trumpet and then he gets killed. And there's supposed to be a bittersweetness to that. Like, I think there's something going on, especially with that last, there's so much violence in the movie, and you're not exactly laughing at it, but you're not really taking it seriously. But there is meant to be this evocative, like, feeling of sadness to those moments in the movie where it's like, no, this is actually a loss. Like, this is people... He
does that in Fritz as well.
Losing. Oh, yeah, yes, exactly. Right, yeah. He likes to have the feeling of, like, yes, violence exists, and it is a part of the world, and it's funny and disturbing and whatever, but it also is sad. Violence is also death is sad.
Yeah. I mean, he wraps it up in like a pretty bow. I mean, not really pretty. It's still like death and stuff, but in American Pop, that scene where the character enlists in the army and then he walks in and sees a piano, starts playing, and then a Nazi soldier behind him stands up and he at the piano changes his song when he sees the Nazi. He changes his song to play a German song, like a pretty German song, and the Nazi soldier's clearly like really mesmerized by it. He says Danke, which means thank you in German, and you know that he like truly means that when he says thank you. But then he shoots him, and it's just a very emotional moment. And in American
scene.
Yeah, and in American Pop, you don't have all those other like crazy deaths that are all extreme like you do in Bakshi's other stuff. But he clearly knows how to work a death when he wants it to be emotional or a loss.
The movie is full of very hard right angles. It changes direction a lot, and then I feel like in those death sequences when someone he can just turn it up to like, I'm being serious right now.
He's basically better at heartfelt humanity, I think, than he is at
the satire
provocation.
Oddly enough,
and this is why rotoscoping is such a good technique for him to use, because he is so interested in just people's behavior and the little moments that people share with him. That moment, with the dad, where he's terrified that he's lost the favor of the Godfather, and so he puts a cigarette in his mouth and he puts his hand up and it's shaking, and so he can't get the lighter to hit the cigarette. That's one of the most amazing animated character moments I've ever seen.
That's a good part. And that is I love that whole scene with the Union guys, and they're all drawn in a different style. They're drawn in like a much more illustratorly way.
Yeah, the different styles, like the scene where Michael's watching a movie in a movie theater, and the movie he's watching, you see an actual movie in black and white, live action. The movie is Red Dust.
Oh yeah,
with Clark Gable,
Have
which
you
I
ever
think
seen that?
no, I haven't. I looked it up though, and it's known for being very racist and sexist, and so I personally think he chose that on purpose to try and critique it. And when I was watching it, I got the sense of like Michael, an animated character, he's on such a different wavelength that like the actual modality of it is totally different. Like he's animated and that's live action. It's just like he's on a completely separate reality entirely from the previous generations.
He's
is like the
looking at
feeling I
alien
got.
people.
Yeah, that's
But
the
in,
feeling I
and
got.
in a
That's
way,
interesting.
and in a way, it's almost, I would say, in a way, he as far removed as he is from that older generation. Because I didn't ever even put that connection with the movie theater scene together. It's making me also realize that too. It's like he's also so connected to the old way because like he kind of pimps Carol out at the end. It's not like he is a gentleman. He still is like he
At
hits
her behest, though. Right?
That's true.
Isn't it her idea?
I mean, it is her idea, but he does hit her.
You mentioned the right angles earlier of the movie. I want to talk about how weirdly hopeful the ending is, despite the rest of the movie. Like, it's like, at the end, it suddenly turned into a romance, and it's...
It was always a romance.
I mean, it seemed like a...
That's the best part of the movie is him and Carol. I want so
I do
much more.
agree,
I want so much more of them. Like that's the failing of the movie is I understand the kaleidoscopic, view of the entirety of society and his parents. Bakshi's incredibly interested in parents and children. This is a key theme. This is maybe the key theme of his work. But the Carol and Michael relationship is by far the most satisfying stuff in the film, and there's so little of it relatively.
I agree, but in the main part of the film, even though it has romantic elements, it's still very much like, they have Michael slapping her and pimping her out, and in the very end, it just seems very sweet. Like when it goes back to the live action and he interacts with Carol again, it's like suddenly
What did you
like.
But isn't there
take that as a representation of?
Isn't there an implication that's still his fantasy?
What?
Isn't that potentially still his fantasy?
That's not what. Well, okay, Frank, you can go first. What did you take it as?
Well, interesting. So, Sam, are you saying that the animation was the fantasy of the live action character?
Yes, and then
Okay, that would make sense.
and then I think their happy ending is another fantasy because I think he's back playing pinball at the end again after that. Am I wrong or am I
No, the pinball's first. He kicks it over. That's where that weird David Lynch scene happens.
No,
It's
I know.
all those weirdos there, and then when he leaves, he finds Carol, and then it's like them doing the pantomime in the park, and it's like flute music.
Yeah, like they.
Yeah,
end
it is
in
like
the
a weird
park.
romance. Yeah.
Yeah.
See, I took that. I took it as almost a Buddhist infinite cycle of rebirth, which makes sense with the pinball aspect. You're just putting another quarter in, you have another ball, free play kind of situation. Because that free play, he gets killed and he's cuts back to him playing live action pinball. And he's like, man, fuck that. And he like beats the shit out of it. And he's like standing in a room full of like some sad looking men and just other dudes are just like locked in their machines. And then he leaves and finds Carol. I don't know. I took that as a rebirth metaphor. But also,
I think you're right about
the animation could work as like his inner fantasy. That also that's less pretentious.
Well, it does say, I'm rereading the synopsis, and it says, the two are seen briefly arguing before they finally take each other's hands and begin happily dancing in the park as the film cuts back to Michael playing a new game of pinball. So I didn't remember that, but I just read that in the synopsis.
Did that happen after the credits roll?
I don't know. Is this synopsis wrong? Are we are we uncovering that this is a flawed synopsis right now? Because none of us remember that happening, right?
I don't remember that.
I don't remember
That it goes back to him at the end,
at all.
the last shot.
We might have.
Maybe it was a different.
Maybe
version.
it's like while the
There
credits
were
were
different
rolling, and
versions,
maybe we just
too.
turned it off.
right.
No, I mean I watched the credits almost. I didn't go all the way to the end, but I went pretty deep into the credits because it's like a big zoom out and like the last, as it's just scrolling through names, it's just like a shot of the city. It's like a building.
Maybe it's a Berenstain Bears situation, and if we go back and watch it, like, it'll be just right there in the movie.
Yeah, there's a whole generation of people who just have this vivid memory of how heavy traffic ends, and when they find out the truth, it completely shatters their worldview.
Okay, so my take on the ending is, and this wasn't the take I had while watching it, it's the take that I had like just now, 10 seconds ago, is that the fact that it's like semi-autobiographical and he clearly has stuff, like Bakshi clearly has stuff that he wants to work through with his animation. My take is that it was a fantasy in his head, but that fantasy of just like allowing, like getting it out through art, like putting your raw emotions and feelings and your darkness down through art allows you to then just live a better, more healthy life and not have that like pent up stuff ooze into the way you interact with people. And therefore, like, art is a cathartic means to get that shit out so you can have a good life. I
love that. I think that's a wonderful interpretation. I don't know if I agree with it, but I think that that's like a great thing to take from it, because there is like, I do think that there is something about like once you get into the real world, there is that sequence that we talked about where there's the guy mimes getting shot and then the guy drops his pants in the thing, and it is saying like we have not changed realities, right?
But like Michael is different.
Okay.
I think like that's the thing is like how Michael acts.
He is different after losing at a game of pinball and destroying the machine.
You're right. I guess you're right. Whatever. You might be right. But, I mean, he's not perfect.
No. But like you're right. Like, the movie is clearly saying like, go out and get him, boy, right? Or something like it's go out and get her, boy, right? Like it's saying like you can do it, right? Like it is on a hopeful note. Like it's right?
definitely
like,
on a hopeful note.
It's like it wants him to go talk to the real version of her, see the real her.
Yeah. I mean, because she was like the best part of the real movie, she was like the best character when he sees her in real life, then it is very much like, no, that's the person you're supposed to go pursue.
Yeah, it is so satisfying because, you know, the first time we watched this, it's like you don't, like, I didn't know that it was improvised beforehand and like that they're, I don't know anything about how animation usually works how typically you do voices first and then animate that or vice versa
usually.
And stuff. Right. Oh, usually. Okay.
In cases there have been people who like animate the like Fleischers used to do that sometimes, and a lot of anime productions will like they'll animate the mouth flaps
right
and then like estimate it and then the actors will try to nail it. But yeah, most of the time it's like not the ideal way. That I don't like animating that way. I like having the voices recorded first.
Great. That is what I would assume. And in this, you really feel like it has to be that because, as you say, like there's a rawness to the recording style of the people, but also just the way that they're talking with each other. It's much more ad-libbing and loose versus typical animation. But so you get these like vivid pictures of these people in the thing, and you're just like, wow, this person could not exist in the real world. Thank God for the medium of animation. I love that we got to depict this totally fictional character. And then it cuts to like the real life Carol, and it's like, no, she's really like that. Like that's actually pretty much her. Like they were animating an actual person. This was not just out of Bakshi's mind.
Yeah. I love her pantomime at the end. It was so cute. She's so good at that.
I was like, oh. I thought like, oh, she's not an actress.
She is an actress.
Oh, that too. Yeah.
She was an actress.
She's definitely not. No,
She studied under Lee Strasberg in the 1960s.
Okay.
And was a member of the Actors
All right, she's not a good actress.
She was an actress. She was a fucking actress. She was in a lot of stuff. She was in interesting stuff. I kind of want to see. There's this movie that she was in called Euphoria in 1985. Look at the poster of this.
Oh, Euphoria.
Euphoria.
That looks kind of fun.
Look at that. It's got Harry Dean Stanton in there.
I'd see that.
Look at that. Sold.
Exactly. That name alone.
Right.
The movie title is great, and they add Harry in there.
Yeah.
Yes, you were correct to be sold.
I saw Repo Man on a big screen recently.
I'm jealous.
That was awesome. That's so good.
I don't like that movie.
You don't?
Elena's so fucking weird about this.
There's some weird 80s that I don't like.
I recently had a friend who also said he didn't like it, but it was crazy when he was talking about it.
We got to do a follow-up podcast.
That's not what we talk about on this podcast, okay?
Yeah, that's beyond our scope.
Yeah.
But if we have ever a Patreon, then
that's true. That would be number one on my list, probably.
Ugh. Should we briefly go over the new Hollywood aspects of this movie?
Yeah, let's talk about the new Hollywood aspects, which feed into the plot of the film very well. I'll tell you one new Hollywood aspect. Can we start with this?
Yeah, go ahead.
The main character's name is Michael Corleone.
Yeah, the Godfather thing.
Yeah. What is up with this? I mean, and this is like...
Wait, okay, Frank, you're bad with names, right? Okay, so...
Yes.
In case you did not catch it, Michael Corleone is the name of Al Pacino's character in The Godfather.
I didn't catch that. That
Really?
was his name in Heavy Traffic.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah. Well, no, I only caught it
I didn't realize
because...
that was his last name.
I only caught it because I was like, what? And then he literally goes and talks to The Godfather. And the movie The Godfather only came out like a year before this movie came out. And they were animating it all. I mean, I know the book was big,
yeah,
right? Which must be what he's drafting off of. And Bakshi has an interest in the mafia. And in fact, said that he was pissed off later on at how The Godfather, the movie Godfather, had glorified the mafia. And a lot of, like, I think in Harlem Nights, he was trying very hard to... he was basically making the mafias the bad guys because he felt like they had been given this elevated place in the culture because of The Godfather.
Yeah, I read this one review of Heavy Traffic that talks about, the Michael Corleone Godfather illusion and then just straight up having a character called Godfather in the movie Heavy Traffic, that it was a tribute to Coppola's Godfather. And I'm like, I don't think it was a tribute. I think it was criticizing it for being, like, the mafia is associated in the movie with, and this ties into the new Hollywood aspects, like the mafia and the dad, that's like old traditional values, and Michael rejects those.
I think it is important that the father is also rejected by those old values as well. I think they're all interesting characters. I think that they're all...
I don't know if he's rejected by the values. I think he's eaten up alive.
He's trying to play the game, but he doesn't realize that he is also a victim in this system too. He thinks that he is the one on top, but he's just another cog.
I'm not going to call him a victim. I'm not going to call the dad character a victim.
All right, fine, fair enough. I think the movie has some sympathy for the dad.
I don't think he's a victim because he is a piece of shit from the get-go. But I think he's your iconic shitty dad involved in a mob. I mean, it's like it sums that up.
We've all had one, of course.
But just like that guy who's just like a character where it's just like every move you make is a bad decision.
But it's like Michael's caught between his parents. You know what I mean? Like, yes, Michael does not view his mom as inherently more sympathetic than his dad.
No.
Right? Like, he views them as both being idiots.
I feel like he views her sadder, when she's like out and her, like, she's dancing and showing off her dress and stuff.
Yeah, he's disturbed by that in a way he's not disturbed by his dad's.
And she shows there is a bizarre, like,
Oedipal thing?
Where she's like always showing him his tits. He like really like Bakshi was like ahead of Pornhub on that one. It was just like he was always nude in front of her kid.
It's one of those things where he's just like, you guys know that thing where like your mom's tits are always popping out? Yeah, and they're like, what?
It happened in the tenements all the time.
It's just how we were growing up in the old neighborhood. I'm sorry.
Getting briefly back to the dad being sympathetic, there is one thing about the dad that I feel like is more sympathetic.
Okay.
And it's that he sleeps with Snowflake, the trans character, and everybody else in the movie, like not everybody else, but like Snowflake tries to sleep with other guys and they're transphobic and don't want to sleep with Snowflake, but the dad sleeps with her.
He's shown to be incredibly into her, and it's not a thing where he ever like turns on her.
I don't think so.
I forgot about Snowflake. Snowflake's an interesting character, and Shorty, the guy with no legs.
Oh yeah. The scene where Carol's walking down the street and just hears the squeaking is just it's so disturbing.
Very Infinite Jest.
Yeah. Okay, other new Hollywood aspects.
Yes.
So obviously it's pushing the boundaries. It's a rebellious film, right? So that's like one very obvious new Hollywood thing. Lots of old versus young, like different generations. Rejecting the old Hollywood thing, as I meant, like with him watching that 1930s movie, that kind of thing. And then also Michael goes to try and sell his drawings and like I think also a script to an old, presumably studio guy. And the guy is like,
the Cartoon Syndicate.
Yeah. Right. And that old man just wants family and kids stuff. So it's
Like,
definitely
Jesus always sells. That's always a good business move.
right. Yeah. So that's definitely like a criticism of like obviously the current state of animation.
My question about that is like, is his pitch supposed to be good in that moment? Because like his pitch is kind of like dumb and sophomore, like even compared to the rest of the stuff in the movie. Like what is the cartoon that he pitches again?
I do not remember.
Oh, God.
I forget, but it ends up
sci-fi?
killing the guy.
Yeah, I wish I could. Yeah, no, right. It kills the guy, but like I feel like there's supposed to be a certain thing where it's like
Yeah, it's like a weird sci-fi.
it's about a thing
Yeah, it's
where like
sci-fi.
all of these people are fucking a hole in the ground or like fucking
but it's
fucking
like
a mountain,
God.
but then it turns out it's a woman and
But then
it
they
kills
like
you.
God tries to fuck.
God tries to fuck.
Something.
Yeah,
God-
yeah,
No, but
yeah,
that's the
God's
point. Like,
involved in it.
Yeah.
it's very silly. Like, I actually think that he's presenting that as a bad idea.
But you know,
I actually do.
Bakshi,
I'd watch that movie. Though. That's the thing.
Yeah.
When he was
Yeah,
saying that
sci-fi.
movie, I was like, damn, I kind of want to see that.
and Bakshi clearly likes sci-fi fantasy stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's true. Like, I can't say. I guess I think that I don't know that I think that he's presenting Michael as this genius, just person who's going to come in and change the world. I think he's presenting Michael as a person who's still figuring things out too.
But that he probably views himself that well. I don't know. I mean, Bakshi.
I think he views himself as a visionary genius to some extent.
I don't know how
Yeah,
he
probably.
viewed himself at the time.
Maybe not. I don't
I feel like maybe now, probably. But yeah, who knows what he thought at the time.
The that old guy who runs the Cartoon Syndicate kind of reminds me of, and again, this is before the movie I'm about to compare it to, but the Old Man and Being There,
Totally.
where it's
Yeah.
just like this like.
He's like,
rich
yes, I love your energy.
Yeah,
Get to me.
yeah.
Yeah, right. Yeah.
Especially because then you see him on the hospital bed.
Yeah.
Yeah,
You know?
yeah.
Yeah.
He's like, you young whippersnappers have something to tell us. Tell me a story. Other New Hollywood?
Yeah, sure. So extreme violence and sexuality.
Oh, yeah.
That's obviously New Hollywood.
right.
It criticizes culture.
They got their dicks hanging out all the time and
Yeah,
stuff.
and the boobs. The boobs are just always fucking popping out. I hate it.
It bothers you? Like, like that bothers you? Like, really? Like, it like...
Yeah, weirdly did. I was like,
Why?
I was like almost annoyed at myself being like, ugh, why can't I just like put my female, sensibilities aside for a second and not be bothered by this? But
No,
yeah, it
I
bothered
know
me.
a few girls who feel similar when it comes to like those kinds of moments in these movies.
Like, I know that it, like you said, the dicks are always popping out too, but it's made
It's
by a
bad,
man and,
No.
And I mean, and that is
yeah.
of its time too, certainly in terms of like what the animation teams are made up of. Like, there are definitely not many female animators or story artists working under Bakshi.
He did. He actually was, yeah, kind of a woke king.
Well, no.
In this regard,
no,
a little bit.
Wait, it's
Maybe.
okay. So he
Fine.
apparently hired more women and minorities than
Oh, really?
was
Yeah.
typical for production
It was
companies at the
a
time.
pointed thing.
Oh,
And
yeah.
he paid them more.
Yes.
Like, so I can here I have the number.
That rules.
You're getting their pay?
Yeah,
You're
I
getting their
got their pay. Yeah.
$2,000 a week.
He would pay them $2,000 a week, whereas at other animation studios at the time, they would make more like $500 to $800 a week. So he,
You know, it's fucking crazy that some people
That's
in
the
the
same
industry
now?
today barely,
Right,
either barely make that or some of it is just the same.
damn,
Yep.
That's
I wanna-
damn.
Woo! I almost killed my dog. I
Yeah.
was so mad right now. I almost squeezed her.
Damn.
Holy crap.
Oh my god, I didn't even notice you've got a
Yeah,
dog.
I thought that was a
now. I
cat
thought it was
still.
still
I
the same
didn't realize
cat,
that
'cause
was
it's
a
the same
dog.
color. Oh, it's so
This is-
small.
This is my girl Penny Century.
Oh, she's so cute. Oh.
That is really cute. I'm reading some horrible stuff in your notes now.
Yeah.
Okay,
Okay.
please go on.
So
Yeah.
he did hire more women and minorities, but it seems like
Maybe
a lot
it wasn't for the right reasons.
a lot of them quit. Like, for example, a lot of the black animators that he hired to work on Harlem Nights after all the controversy came out about it because it was like heavily protested. I think all of them quit after that. And so in terms of the women that he hired, 2 of the women on the crew quit during Fritz the Cat. One of them said she didn't want to have to tell her kids what she did for a living, and the other refused to draw exposed breasts. So that's like their own issues with the content of the animation. But then just Bakshi himself apparently did a lot of sexual harassment. Animator Joanna Romersa called him a bastard and said that when she was his secretary and production manager in the 70s, she used to think he was mad at her if he didn't pat her butt or pinch her boob. because that happens so frequently.
This is such a wild statement to make.
Yeah.
Like,
and there were there were at least two other women who also said that he, there was like a lot of sexual harassment that went on. So.
Well, luckily you don't get that vibe when you see his work, so you can just completely separate the art and the artist, and
Sam says,
yeah, I mean,
complete
you hear a lot of story. You definitely hear a lot of stories about him, and I definitely do not doubt any when I hear them. It's like, again, it's just one of those things.
Another cold shower in the new Hollywood landscape. We have to take every episode.
So that's another new Hollywood aspect.
People behaving badly.
Yes. And then just a couple more.
Speed round.
It's very dark.
It's very dark.
A lot of improvised dialogue and trying to capture the grittiness of reality. It's got a non-traditional narrative, like the story. It'll suddenly lead you away from the main characters by following secondary characters. Mm-hmm. And the protagonist is not a hero like Michael, as we discussed earlier. Like, you think he's like, oh, this is a good guy, and then he turns out to be a piece of shit also. And just Bakshi having auteur qualities. Like, there's a clear Bakshi stamp on things.
And also, like, he was friends with all of the movie brats and the new Hollywood guys. Like he hung out with Scorsese and Lucas and...
Yeah, I know he became friends with Lucas Spielberg, after, like,
Coppola.
Wizards and Star Wars.
Yeah.
He came out the same year by the same production company, and they each had issues with funding.
Well, it was supposed to be called War Wizards, and Lucas... It was going to come out a month...
I thought it was Star Wizards.
No, War Wizards.
War Wizards, okay.
And it was 6 and 1, half a dozen. It was supposed to come out like around the same time as Star Wars, and Lucas asked him as a favor to change it. And
interesting. Yeah. I didn't know that.
Lucas was worried about, it might eat into the profits of his little movie.
It's fun, the grittiness and like the dark aspect for like, I think one of the things that I love about New Hollywood in general, and certainly when I watch like when Bakshi takes on, God, I still fuck his name up, it's hilarious.
It's nice.
When he takes on the presentation of New York at the time as well, where it's like, nothing is more dull to me than when I watch a modern movie and it takes place in New York or Los Angeles, but it's all bright and it's super nice and it's super clean and everyone's like hot as fuck and this and that. It's just like, what happened to movies about working class people who just look normal, who aren't just like models, actresses, or like hot guys or girls? Or where the fuck is the trash? Why is there no trash on the ground? Particularly in Los Angeles. I live in a city, and you're in San Diego, right?
Yeah.
We live in two cities with a severe crisis for people who don't have homes right now, who are homeless, who are destitute, who have mental illness, who are just on the road. It's like, that is a part of it. It doesn't mean make fun of it. It doesn't mean...
No, but it's brushed under the rug.
It's just brushed under the rug. Exactly. It makes it feel like we're not even presenting... Movies and stuff people use as escapism, sure, but it's going even back to the old Fleischer Popeyes and Betty Boops, when they were made like during the Depression era. So like there's cracks in the walls of tenement buildings and like things look, unless they're in like a tuxedo hall, there's like boarded up windows and things like that. There's abandoned houses. I really do appreciate that in New Hollywood films, and especially in like those Bakshi backgrounds. The background designers and artists on this movie just excel in representing that.
Bakshi loved garbage. He used to dig comic books out of garbage cans as a child. I think that's sort of a key origin. He has a talking garbage can. It's like the opening of one of his movies, right?
I also feel like an aspect of New Hollywood in this too is all the live action scenes of New York having the marquees and stuff. Yeah. Like that's just so iconic to me of that era of like, this is a movie from the 70s features a marquee at some point.
Yes.
Or just flashes of shots of marquees.
No, he was looking at the world around him.
I miss marquees. There's a cool theater in San Diego that had one, and it closed down, unfortunately. So sad.
Sorry, the marquee was costing too much. We had to close down.
Did you go to Ken Cinema ever?
Did I go to where?
Ken Cinema?
I don't think so.
I don't think you did. What a shame.
What a shame.
So, like, animation, the role of animation in New Hollywood, it kind of seems like it was mostly just Bakshi.
It's this dude that we're talking about right now.
It's
pretty
just
much.
Yeah. There's a handful of other animated movies that did get made during this era. Oh, man. Like Bone Alley? Yeah, But there's definitely that, which would have been a part of this era. And
Yellow Submarine, a little bit.
Yellow Submarine technically
like
is
this.
part of this era.
Half UK.
Yeah.
But
Bobby London is a cartoonist who did a comic called Dirty Duck that was in Playboy and stuff like that. And I know he kind of got ripped off on someone made a movie of it, but I don't know if he ever gave approval of it. But there is another Fritz the Cat style era movie of Dirty Duck. But that one, I mean, it's one of those sad instances of as an animator, I want to see the animation, but I couldn't finish that movie because it is just so I have a dirty sense of humor. I appreciate a dirty joke or whatever. I don't really mind nudity that much, but I'm not 14 anymore. There are so many animated movies from all across the world that are beautifully animated, but it's just I don't know why that's a good story. Or it's just kind of not there.
Yeah. I mean, internationally, there were other, I feel like Japan, it seems it was doing a lot of adult animation at the time. But
that can still vary on content wise of is it good or is it schlocky. Osamu Tezuka is credited as the director, but really he did more production. He directed a lot of the visuals, though, I guess. But he directed 2 animated movies in that new Hollywood kind of flavor. There was something in the water that all these artists were seeing from other countries and different places and just being I really want to, let's put, it just felt like this era, whether it was live action or animation, was let's put, for people who were more auteur driven, we're let's push, where can the medium go? Where are we going to take this?
Yeah. We have a whole episode on Japanese New Wave. So Japan actually, they were
really?
one of...
I have to listen to that.
It's one of my favorite episodes. There were some really fun movies. Tokyo Drifter is one that we covered in that episode that was a blast. But
I haven't seen that.
Japan was influential on other countries with the stuff that they were putting out. We covered on our top movies of 1973 and 2023. We briefly mentioned in honorable mentions Belladonna of Sadness, which is an animated movie from the same year as Heavy Traffic. And that one's trippy and weird as fuck. So
yeah. That's one of those that's it's animated sometimes, and yet it still works.
You mean it's mostly just drawing? Still drawings?
Yeah.
But I think that counts. I mean, it's still visual storytelling.
Yeah, we'll give it to him. I've never made a movie. Who am I to judge? Final thoughts before we get to the cold stone of it all?
It's a challenging movie, but I don't know. I think it's worth thinking about and being critical of.
Yeah, there was something about this era, and especially I think for people who were raised on the iconography of early cartoons, that they sensed something deeply disturbing in the tradition that they become a part of, in a way that it's a deeper felt sense of rebellion, I think, even than the movie brats. Those guys loved the people that came before them. And I think that there's a lot of people in visual art and animation in this era that were really just you're full of shit to the people that they were working for. And they just they really felt like they were seeing the tyranny and the programming that animation was doing to kids and society, and that had worked on themselves. And yeah, it feels like there was this real sense of needing to shake people out of their stupid little worldviews where you're not even noticing how fucked up all this stuff that you're taking in is. And yeah, it's again, it's one of those things that it's just provocation in a way is kind of dormant right now in most forms of art. I would say we're not in a particularly, there's some, comics who, comedians, who make make their bones from being provocative to certain groups and stuff. But, that also gets its fair share of criticism, and sort of sometimes the criticism really seems to drown out anybody who likes that stuff. So it's weird. I always just think it's so funny to think about how much more staid and bland society was back then, that it prompted people to feel capable of being truly transgressive and offensive in a way that now, even though we've normalized so much sex and violence, and there's all sorts of sensibilities that have changed, but we feel a lot more afraid of ourselves and a lot more afraid of like what's going to come out if we unleash our id or whatever. And I don't know.
There's an irony to a lot of transgression became, like you said, the norm, and a lot of it became in the mainstream. That it becomes commonplace to a degree. It's no longer taboo, but to explore certain subjects or subject matter, even exploring AI. If you wanted to explore a really critical take down or really critical satire of it through a script that you're trying to pitch to Hollywood, it's like maybe that doesn't get made because right now they want to embrace that.
Yeah, we don't want to offend the AIs.
Yeah, so it's like so then you have to like hold yourself back from saying it.
I'm sorry. Yeah. Can I bring up the intro now? This.
Fine.
This is a weird in the weeds snake eating its own tail discussion that I wanted to say. So in my intro to this episode, I said a statement that was like, some 21st century audiences, the way I originally wrote it was, some 21st century audiences might be too easily ready to call this problematic, right? And Elena asked me to take out might be too easily. So Elena felt the need to protect the sensibilities of the people who I said might be offended by this. She didn't want me to offend them and say. I just think it's funny. I would like you to recharacterize it now. But yeah,
I think there's a real discussion about whether or not the technique that Bakshi used to criticize racism, there's a real discussion about whether or not he actually should have done that in the first place.
Of course.
So that's why I took out the too easily part, because I think it is a totally valid opinion to say his approach was wrong and he shouldn't have done that.
Yeah, right. I just think it's funny for you to quibble over that.
It's not a quibble. It's about the analysis of it, and
but I was not saying that they were too easily. I was saying they might be considered too easily.
They might be too easily, and that is you passing a judgment saying that it was too quick for somebody to make that judgment. I think that everything should be taking the time to consider something. So the idea of dismissing art without giving it, a chance to really think about it critically, I don't like that idea. But yeah, it felt like you were passing judgment in a way that I feel like you were too quick to say that they were too quick.
I was not intending to pass judgment. That's what I was saying. I found it very humorous that you wanted to protect them from me saying that.
Okay, we are.
I can see where you're coming from, Elena. I do understand. My final take, because that's my final take of the movie is when you asked me about we wanted to go through animation of this era, New Hollywood. Really, there really is only Bakshi.
Yes.
In terms of Hollywood New Wave, who was it? It was really only him, and because of that, he's in the history books. He is. He just that you can't dispute that fact. What you can dispute or debate or be critical of is then the content of the art that he created, and I think that. I don't think he is essential. I think American Pop is his best work, and I think everyone who's interested in seeing a really good animated film that doesn't have a lot of fucking baggage to racial and societal baggage to unpack afterwards and during, you should see American Pop. You should see American Pop. It's great. If you're an artist who is looking for some inspiration, I think Heavy Traffic. I think most of his his movies about the cities are very worthwhile as an artist, as a creator, as a creative person. Not for their story, but I really do think for their narrative story, at least, I think for their visuals, their compositions, their shot delivery, their execution, there are certain pans and truck outs and truck ins of a Bakshi movie on backgrounds that are drawn that are just, you don't see that in a CG film these days. So if you're not interested in any of that stuff, it may not be a movie worth watching.
Yeah.
Yeah, and we're
it's not part of New Hollywood, but not to beat a dead horse, it's not part of New Hollywood. But what is worth watching if you don't want all the baggage is American Pop. Can't make that.
It's not. It's basically at the tail end of
It's
New
like
Hollywood.
80s,
Yeah,
right?
it's 81.
81. Yeah, that sneaks in through the New Hollywood.
Okay.
Yeah.
I mean, in a way, it is because it was the predecessor from MTV. It wasn't like it's a big music video.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's totally true.
Yeah.
And yet, I also still think it's funny to worry about offending people who are offended too easily by saying they're offended too easily. Anyways, I just think it's funny. But
sneak
whether
one more
or
in
not
there.
you're right or not, I'm not saying they're wrong to be offended. Okay.
No, you are wrong for thinking that was the reason why I changed it. But whatever. Let's move on.
Yes. Okay, so we do this scale. This is our rating system.
The Cold Stone scale.
You're familiar? You ever been to a little establishment known as Cold Stone Creamery?
I have, but
You're familiar with the sizes of the ice cream that they...
I kind of forget, actually. It's been a while.
Well, you see, you got like it, love it, and gotta have it. Okay? So that is the rating system that we use for movies that we at least like.
And if you feel like it doesn't make the scale, then you could say, like, I tried the ice cream, didn't like it, so I threw it in the trash can. Or I tried it and couldn't finish it.
Or I threw up in my mouth, if you want to bother Elena.
Yeah.
Okay, so, Elena, like it, love it, or gotta have it.
It's not on the scale for me. I tried a really different, strange flavor combination, and I'm glad that I experimented with that flavor combination, but I don't want to finish it. And this is not the perfect metaphor because I do think it's a worthwhile movie finishing if you enjoy the kinds of movies that Frank is talking about, like appreciating it from like just the artistic, creative aspect. But yeah, anyways, for me, it's didn't finish it, but enjoy that I tried that adventurous experience.
Yeah, it's a real cusper for me. I mean, like, it's basically it's almost on the scale. Like, I think it is, I almost like this movie. Nothing about the problematicness really turns me off in and of itself. It's just the execution of everything really just undermines any purpose that the problematicness could have for me, and it's so narratively incoherent, and I don't love the way that it looks a lot of the time. But like you're saying, it is just kind of literally important. Like it is something that kind of belongs as a museum piece a little bit. Like it's the kind of thing that I don't know if I would ever suggest anybody to watch it, but like maybe I would show somebody a still from it or something. I don't know. Like I feel like I want to say that I like it, but that would be a lie. And so thus I almost I almost finished my sample of ice cream, but in the end I put the spoon in the used sample spoon thing with a little bit of ice cream still on it.
And Frank, how about you?
I will go for Love It.
Great.
Nice.
For the reasons I said a little earlier, though, too, very specifically. I love it for the type of artist that I'm trying to become.
Yeah.
In terms of just, there's so much to take from it that can be utilized in great ways. I do agree with you, Sam, about the narrative there's a lot that isn't good beyond just the problematic elements. Like there's a lot that isn't good in just movie elements, like and like what you're saying and making for a movie. Like I am surprised it made money when it first came out. Actually.
Yeah, me too.
I mean, exploitation was kind of in at that moment too.
That does make
kind
sense.
of how they were selling it a little bit. I think
It's X rating. They were
Yeah,
like, "Oh my
right.
god, it's so extreme."
It's X-rated, like the most recent Best Picture winner.
So that does make sense then in that regard. Actually, to get some asses in the seats and spend some money.
Emphasis on ass.
It's a love it for purely a lot of what the art is and where it comes from and what it can inspire in me and I think other people. This is a movie where it's like, I definitely know friends who would not want to watch this, but I know friends who would want to watch scenes from this movie.
I would show that shot of the dad in the
sequence
cigarette. I would show that anytime.
Exactly. That shot's amazing. Mom walking through the memory lane kind of thing. Certain scenes with Michael and Carol together towards the end.
Yeah.
I would show them clips of this movie to be like, boom, 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 that death sequence kind of thing.
Yeah.
Okay, and so I gotta say, as far as you're loving it, I gotta have that. As far as you not liking it, I like that. I like
You don't gotta have it.
I don't gotta have it. I also kind of like that I didn't like it. As far as the rating scale, because we're still trying out the rating scale, I feel like at this point I gotta have the rating scale.
We're gonna stick with it.
You gotta have it?
Yeah. It's a new thing we're trying out, and I like it.
I like the rating scale. I think that's pretty good.
You like it?
Thank you.
Yeah.
Great.
I'm asking for your
good,
rating.
Oh.
I'm asking for your rating of the rating scale on the scale itself. You gotta have it. Thank you. Okay, I didn't want to end on you liking it.
I feel like you put pressure on him, though.
No.
I do. Yeah. The rating is. I do think that is a good rating scale because it's a thing where it's like
positive.
You can like something but put it back, But it's like because there are still movies where it's like a like it movie where it's like if I wasn't an animator, I might just put myself in the like it category.
Yeah.
In terms of just like it's not going to be for everyone, but there's some shit I haven't seen that movie before, so that was cool. But as an animator, it bumps it up to the love it category. And if I was someone who didn't even like cartoons, and then I tried to watch, and then someone had me watch that movie, and I was also a person who didn't like the content, I would be like, I tried it, and I fucking hated it.
Well, thank you for playing along. That was very nice of you. I appreciate you. Elena's going to take us out.
Yeah, it was
thank you so much.
fun having you on the episode.
You were
I'm sorry,
so
you kind of went like all over the place, and I was rambling a bunch. So I hope this isn't
a Bakshi-esque structure.
This is totally, and it's also how our episodes normally are.
Yeah, we don't have. Yeah, we could do whatever.
Yeah,
but thank you so much. You were an awesome guest, man.
Yeah,
great to meet you.
Yeah, it was great meeting you.
Okay, that concludes another exciting new Hollywood adventure. Thank you all so much for listening. Don't forget to subscribe to Kale Your Idols on the podcatcher of your choice. We would love more ratings and reviews, so please leave a rating and review. And get in touch with us. I run the social media, so if you get into an argument with us on there, you will be arguing with me. Our Instagram is where we're most active. I strongly recommend using that, but you can also find us on X or Facebook. Just search the name of our podcast, Kale Your Idols, and you'll find us. You can also send us an email to kaleyouridols@gmail.com. And we want to say thank you to the Illuminator for our logo art, and thank you to ourselves for everything else. Please join us next episode where we will be covering Brian De Palma's movie Obsession.
Okay, so that's the end of the show. Peter Fonda, how did we do?
We blew it.